And in fact, sometimes the mothers say this, I have seen in some places. The mother says, unless you do this, I won't give you this. So, the kid is made to work for a relationship. See how nasty it is. A child is made to work for a relationship. Should you work for a relationship? The other day I was asking somebody in US, I am working for my relationship with my husband, she said. I said, what kind of a nonsense is that? Should you work for a relationship with the husband? Should you work for a relationship with the wife? Is it business? Yeah, in business it does happen. In business it happens. You have to work for a relationship in business. If you have to market your product, you may have to work for it. But between husband and wife, what is there for marketing? Today, the relationship has been reduced to more a commercial bargain, even between husband and wife. The same thing we do with the kid also. Unless you do this, you will not get that. So the kid knows that it has to work for its relationship with mother, with father. It is there in one corner of the mind. When the kid grows and becomes a lad or a girl, now it tells parents, you work for your relationship with me. That is what you people demanded. We did not. Now you want me to be alright, now you work for it. Because you did the very same thing when I was young. When I said that I need a particular thing, you said you have to behave properly. If you behave properly for 2 months, then I will get you that particular toy. That teddy bear you want, for 1 month you should take milk regularly, you should eat regularly. The kid, you have made it like a puppet, it has to dance to your tunes. And the kid, it goes into its mind that it has to work for a relationship. And that is something which you have implanted when you were very young. You did not know how to handle the behavioral problems, and today it has become a relationship problem at a later stage in life. And then the mother comes and tells, my daughter is not listening to me. Why will she listen to you? You have to listen to her. Now it is time. She has already listened to you enough. Why should your daughter or son listen to you? Where is the necessity? Why are you so greedy? No, we listen to our parents. That was your problem. That is over. You were stupid enough to do something and you want your daughter or son to do the very same thing. They have their own life. You should have brought your kid more individualistic. But you were too greedy. You wanted to bring a prototype of you. But it did not happen. Yes, initially it starts with attachment. But at some stage, it has to turn into unconditional love. If it doesn't happen, then it is a disaster in any family. Yes, next. Anything else?
Just the idea of, you said we're choiceless in birth. So are you saying we're choiceless in life, that like our fate?
I'm not able to hear. If you can come here and tell me, then you can go back and sit there.
You
Yeah.
said we're choiceless in our birth, right, and death. So are you saying that we're choiceless in life, that fate is what decides what happens to us? Like, I'm kind of not understanding that.
Still I don't catch you. You can come a little bit near.
You were saying that we're choiceless in birth and death. So are you saying we're choiceless in what happens to us in life?
I was just asking one question, that there was no choice when you were born. There is no choice on death. How do you expect the life to be full of choices? There was no choice on your birth. At least you don't know. There is no choice on my death where I am going to die at what point of time. Who is going to be there by my side? I do not know. When I was born also, I didn't know that I would asked for so and so as my parents, but I was born. I didn't have a choice. There was no choice when I was born. When I die, there is no choice. So my question is, how do you expect the life to be full of choices? It looks as though you have a choice. Our faith is you don't have a choice. Probably your faith is you have a choice. You continue with your faith, I continue with my faith. That's all. Because there is no choice as far as I am concerned, even if you think that there is a choice. That is called choiceless awareness. One needs to be aware of the choicelessness in life. It looks as though you have two things, you have a choice. But what you pick already is what is the pick available for you as far as nature is concerned. There is no choice. It's a very deep thought. People in the West to appreciate it may be difficult. We are more from the East. In the East we were born that way and we were bred that way. Probably that is the conditionality. We were conditioned to believe that there is no choice in life. In fact, to tell you very honestly, I never thought in life that I am going to become a guru. Fine? I never thought about anything in life. Today I have traveled to about 74 countries in the world. I give a lot of lectures on life. Long back I used to just see certain things in the map. But I never thought these things are going to happen. I was in Sahara for a month. I was in Kalahari Desert for a month. I was in Siberia for a month. I was in Costa Rica for a month. So I was in the jungles of Congo for more than a month. I didn't have a choice. When I thought I didn't have a choice, I was taken to maximum places. And I never resisted a change. Be a dry leaf and get drifted as the wind blows. Never resist a change. If you have a choice, you will resist a change. Because the change may not be as per your choice. So you will resist it. We never resisted any change in our life. If it has to happen, it happens. And we accept it as the grace of Lord. Very existence we think that it is the grace of Lord. So we don't have a choice. We don't take that kind of a responsibility. I am totally irresponsible. I teach you to be irresponsible. That's the beauty of my theory. You talk on responsibility. Yes, I can also talk on responsibility, provided I am the doer. I am not the doer. When there is no choice with me, I cannot be the doer. Since I am not the doer, I am not responsible for any of the things. You feel about responsibility because you think you are the doer. When you think you are the doer, you cannot complain because you are the doer. You can always do and you can undo. You cannot complain when you think you are the doer. The ego in you drives you to think that you are the doer. And all the trips in this world, anything in the name of education that is being taught is just nothing else but an ego trip, nothing more than that. It's just an ego trip. They teach you to be goalful oriented. They give you a goal, short-term goal, long-term goal, how you have to achieve. Achievement is what? Nourishment of ego. You want to fulfill that ego in life. You have to come up in life. You have to eat in life. You have to grow in life. You have to earn a lot of money. And that money you are going to spend only for yourself and not for anybody else. That is what the school of the present world, for which we are outdated and we don't belong to that. Because we are not the doers. So when I think and when I act anything being done without thinking that I am not the doer, I am not responsible for any of my actions. And that is the reality. because I am just myself. I don't cloak. What you cloak is a personality. You are now nowadays taught personality development. How to talk nicely. Is it? How to present yourself. When you go to an interview, how you have to dress yourself. How you have to present yourself. How you have to talk goody words. Aesthetic, etiquettes, manners. We are taught of certain things, how to behave. You are doctored. You are told what to do. I was never told what to do. I did what I wanted to do. You were told to do, and you did by what you were told. But I did what I wanted to do. That is the difference. I have a satisfaction of having lived my life. When you are told what to do, and when you do it, you don't get that satisfaction. This is what they say. When it comes to choiceless, maybe, very indisciplined. Maybe, I don't deny it. Maybe, yes, maybe. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Because when you become very disciplined, you become very mechanical. Suppose you are a very disciplined person. Just for name's sake, don't take it seriously. It's nothing, I have nothing against you. Fine? Don't take it too seriously. Okay. You are a very disciplined person. You get up at morning, 6 o'clock, you wash your teeth and have your teeth and probably a little bit workout, and then you go to office or whatever it is, and then come back, you cook food, you do everything, you take care of the family, whatever. Very disciplined. Very disciplined. But very mechanical. Just think of discipline. Discipline is a set of norms, and that set of norms you follow. Just like a machine. The machine works. For 10 years it will work. After that, you see the Mercedes-Benz car, you open the bonnet, everything is sealed. Everything is in boxes. So after 10 years, they will remove that box and keep a new box. That's all. 10 years it will work. But man is not mechanical, man is organical. You have got thoughts, you have got feelings, you have got emotions. You want to be loved, you want to be cared, you want to be appreciated. You are married? Are you married?
Yeah.
Okay. Tomorrow when you are married, you would like your husband to appreciate you. Definitely. When you wear a new sari or a new salwar, you would like him to say, hey, it's very nice, very beautiful. You picked up the best thing. But before your beauty, this is nothing. When he gives such a compliment, you feel so happy. All these are all organical points. These are not mechanical points. A person is more organic, not mechanical. When you are too disciplined, it is too mechanics. Too much. Too much of rules and regulations, right and wrong. Sit here, don't stand there. Perfection and imperfection is just a very mechanical life. Such a life will lead to boredom. Such a life is not having any fragrance of life, what it is supposed to have. It is not having. A little bit of indiscipline is organic. You don't follow the rules. Always following the rules will not be all right. One day you feel like breaking all the rules. It's a natural human tendency. Whether you like it or not, people who have always followed rules, at some stage they feel they are a slave to rules. The freedom, they long for that freedom, that freeness. Ultimately, rule makes you more a slave. You become rule-minded. You only enslave people. Don't sit here, don't stand there, don't do this, don't do that. The kid never follows the rules. You see, the kid is very free. The small kid, it likes to break rules. The kid will not say what you want to say. It will say what it wants to say. That is why the kid is more happy. But over a period of time, we condition the kid and we make it change its opinion, and we want the kid to be a slave, and it becomes a slave, a prototype of what we are, and we call this we are living an organized life. How life can be organized? Life is organic, it has to be disorganized. 15 billion years back, everything happened because of the chaos theory. Because of chaos and confusion, the Big Bang happened, and you are a product of such a confusion theory, and you expect yourself to be peaceful, very orderly, very disciplined. It is not possible. In the system of nature, totality is possible. Some discipline will be there, some indiscipline will also be there. Some right will be there, some wrong will also be there. Some perfection will be there, some imperfection will be there. Life will be a mixture of both. It cannot be imperfection alone or perfection alone. Totality is the very concept of life. This is what happens most of the time. I am talking reality. You want me to talk goody-goody? I can. Then that what will be, I will be masking myself and talking something which I am not interested in talking. That I don't want to do. I want to open up my heart and tell you the truth. Because we belong to Vedas, we don't belong to Shastras. Shastra is tailor-made to suit the dress. When you go to the tailor, he take the cloth, he will measure, he will exactly measure. Vedas is just a loom of cloth which comes, just the cotton, that loom. Shastras is tailor-made. Once you tailor-make it, it means it is to suit your situation. So you do something to suit your own situation. That cannot become the truth. Because it is not universally applicable. Your dress everybody cannot wear, only you can wear. So a situation may be unique for you, you do it that way. But that doesn't become the truth of the total subject. Yeah, anything else? I think we are late. Yes. This is quite a difficult question. I think this is the most difficult question. First of all, there was no expectation. Even today, with the Lord's grace, I don't have any expectation with anybody. Be at home, be at office also. What little office I run and I do. I don't expect anything from anybody. In the sense, I make everybody to participate. I tell them there is an opportunity, you can participate. If they participate, fine. If they don't participate, fine. My relationship has got nothing to do with your reactions. I just like you for what you are. I accept you for what you are. I don't want you to change. I just want you to remain the way you are. Then it becomes very easy. It becomes very easy. When there is no expectation, there is nothing. Somebody came to me, he had a case in Supreme Court. Some 5 crores property. He told me, Guruji, today judgment is going to be written, Supreme Court. If I get this 5 crores, 2.5 crores I want to give it to Balaji, Tirupati. 2.5 crores I want to give it to your Yajna. He said, I said, no problem, don't worry, Lord knows what it is. Anyhow, after the event I told Lord, Lord, whatever is best for him, do it. That's all. Finished. Whatever is best for him, do it. He lost the case. Lost the case. Then he called me, Guruji. And I said, lost the case or not? First itself I had doubt. Yeah, you are praying for it, I think. Noda Guru, nothing. Somehow I felt that on your side there is no parity of justice. So you may lose the case. That's what some inner mind was saying. Anyhow, you have decided that 5 crores you are going to do dhanam. What is the point in your winning the case? Is it right? Correct? Instead of doing dhanam through your hands, Lord thought probably you will do it with his hands. The opposite fellow who has won the case. Without expectation, if we can live, we can be very happy in life. You will be absolutely very happy, I tell you. If something happens, very beautiful, no problem. If something doesn't happen, still beautiful, no problem. Heavens is not going to fall. Nothing is going to happen. Why expect unnecessarily? Once you bring that frame of thinking into your mind, life becomes very peaceful. And you will be very bold. You will be very courageous. The best aspect of life is to live a fearless life. I don't say you should live an egoistic life. Fearlessness doesn't mean that full of egoism. Fearless means being egoless, being very normal. Live an ordinary life and do things extraordinary. Don't be extraordinary and do things ordinary. Be very ordinary. Do things extraordinary, you can do it. Be very normal. You need not worry about anything. Anybody praises also fine, anybody curses also fine. Because we are not the doers, no. Anybody praising also it goes to Lord. Anybody cursing also it goes to Him. Why will I be bothered about anybody cursing or praising? If you can bring that equanimity in your thinking, you will be the most joyous person in life. I am not talking about the cheap happiness. I am talking about the joy. Joy is something very beautiful. You are always happy. You are happy at every point of time. Eternally you are very peaceful. One needs to be very peaceful with what they do and with themselves. That is ultimately very important. If you are peaceful with yourself, you will be the most joyous person in your world. You have not come here, you are not accountable to anybody. You are accountable to your own self. Your own true self. You need not prove that you are very good to somebody. You need not prove good to Narendran or to Sridhar. You just keep yourself. I need not prove myself to anybody. What is that? There is nothing. What is there to prove? Whom I should prove? I need not prove to anybody. Where is the nice thing? Being true to one's own self gives you so much of contentment and joy. You are not bothered. Don't bother attitude, not a big brother attitude. A don't bother attitude. I'm not really bothered. Why I should be bothered with anybody, about any one person? I am not bothered about anybody. I am not bothered about any circumstance. Live a bindas life, carefree life. Don't carry any luggage. No. If somebody is going to come and tell you, don't do this, then keep away from that person. Conditionality will spoil your life. Never bow down to conditionalities. Be unconditional in your relationship with anybody. Whatever you want to do. See for yourself the quality of life, what you want to see. Because to our knowledge, life is only once. We do not know. They say, when you go to an astrologer, he will say, you were last Janma, you were the Jayavarman of Cambodia, you were the king. You only built the Angkor Wat. Alright, you do not know, no. Now today you don't have such a feeling. When he says I am Jayavarman, at least I should have one freedom. That is also not coming. Nothing is there. There is no such feeling. So as far as you are concerned, you know only this life. This one life you know. This is the gift of God. Show all your love to Him. Convert it. See Him in anything and everything. Everywhere you can see. தூணிலும் இருப்பார் துரும்பிலும் இருப்பார். என்னடான்னாரு இந்த நரசிம்மர் எங்கடா உட்கார்ந்துருக்காருன்னாரு. அவர் தூணிலும் இருப்பார் துரும்பிலும் இருப்பார். அடே ஹிரண்யகசிபு தூண் மாதிரி நிக்கிறேடா, எங்க அப்பனே ஒன்னண்டியும் இருக்காரு, துரும்பு மாதிரி நான் ஒண்ணுமே சக்தி இல்லாம நிக்கிறேன், என்னண்டியும் இருக்காருடா. தூணிலும் இருப்பார் துரும்பிலும் இருப்பார்மா. Yeah, you know, Lord is available everywhere. He is there in the pillar, He is there in the dust. Prahlada says. Now I am asking one question. Prahlada says to Hiranyakashipu, hey Hiranyakashipu, he will be there inside you as a pillar. He is also inside me. I am a dust, I am a small particle. He is also inside me. Is there not a subtle ego in what Prahlada says? Will you call yourself as a very humble person? If you call yourself as a humble person, then are you not egoistic? Think about it. Others should call you are a humble person. Others should say, hey, you are a very humble girl. Such a sweet girl. So humble. Others should say. I cannot say no, I am Mr. V.V. Sridhar. Others will say, you are Mr. V.V. Sridhar. I cannot write a letter from Mr. V.V. Sridhar. Will I write? I have to write only V.V. Sridhar. Others address you with Mr. So, Prahlada also certainly had ego. That is probably the reason why Lord did not give moksha to Prahlada. Whereas his own Swarupa, Hiranyakashipu, he kept him across the lap, tore open him, had finger chips and a Diet Coke. McDonald's, fast food. Prahlada, he could have called that fellow, you are such a nice boy, you called me Hari, 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 Hari. Come on, sit for half an hour, I'll let me keep you for some time. He didn't catch also that fellow. Proudly, I have a doubt. Prahlada also carried a little bit of ego. Lord said, you remain here for 21 janmas. Learn everything and then come and reach me. He did not give that moksha bhavam to Prahlada. Whereas, that moksha bhavam he gave to Hiranyakashipu. Because he touched him. He tore open him. So, Narasimha also there is something else. What is that? It is egolessness. That is what. The problem with us most of the time is ego. You think you are the doer. That is what is ego. Once you start saying that this is my responsibility, I think you are very used. Somebody was telling me, Guruji, I have to get my daughter married. I said, why? I am also a very notorious guy. We would like to know why. Then he said, it's my duty. I said, you are older than me, otherwise I will hit you. You say that I want to get my daughter married because I love her a lot. I want her to get married and she has to undergo all the sufferings which I have. You say that. I can understand. I can understand that You love your girl so much, so you wanted to get married. Don't say duty. Duty means out of force, it has been forced on me and I have to do it. Duty, responsibility, all these words is out of force. Karma. Out of love I do it. And you want to do something,